Hi, welcome to our CWTC Get Connected community podcast to share experiences, promote services and networking, and great opportunities available for residents of Oldham. Across the country, food banks are a lifeline for individuals and families facing food insecurity, providing access to essential meals during tough times. Sometimes having to choose between heating and eating, and some parents are going without food so their children can eat. So how do food banks operate? Who do they serve? And what challenges do they face in keeping shelves stocked and giving a helping hand to people? We have invited to our studio Tom from the Oldham Bank to tell us more about their service. Tom, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling this morning?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Do you think the winter's setting in?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely feling cold out there, isn't it?
It was raining all day yesterday.
All day non-stop, I think.
Anyway, you must go on.
Yeah.
Tell us about your career and your education, what you've been doing so far.
Yeah, so I studied a sport coaching degree at university, and after I'd finished that, I went and joined a charity in Birmingham who did lots of different kind of activities in the community, some sport-based, some art-based activities. And during the pandemic, the organisation was then asked to start running a food bank to support people in the communities.
Brilliant.
And that grew to be a huge food bank in Birmingham, which helped a lot of people across the whole city. I then joined Fair Share in Manchester and worked with them on redistributing surplus food to charities and food banks. And then over the last 2 years I've been working at Oldham Foodbank, managing the project and making sure that we give the best support possible to everyone in need in Oldham, really.
Excellent. A real community man. Excellent. It's all about giving and supporting, isn't it? So can you tell us how people end up getting the support from the food bank?
Yes, so I mean, there's lots of different reasons these days that people have to use food banks, and a big chunk of that group of people is because of the cost of living these days, and that can really cause a big problem for families, for people even living on their own, just to make sure that they can get everything that they need, and that they can feed themselves across the month. And a lot of those households, they have to make really hard choices between essentials in their life. That might be energy in their homes, it might be buying food, might be buying other household essentials as well, and because of that, it means that people have to do things like skip meals, or just have to make choices they wouldn't have liked to make, really, to make sure that they can keep going.
Can be difficult.
Definitely, yeah.
And this is where we all need to come together and give a helping hand. And you're doing a wonderful job. Brilliant. So tell us a bit about the background to the food bank and the Trussell Trust.
Of course. Yes, so Oldham Foodbank is part of the nationwide network of food banks, which is Trussell Trust. So we have been in Oldham for around 12 years now, so it's quite a long-standing food bank, and it's been needed, across that time, increasingly so. So it was started by the church in Hollingwood and Limeside, which was St Margaret's and St Chad's, and they were getting lots of people asking for small amounts of food when they were desperate, and from that small amount that was being given out, it's grown to be a really big operation now, and that mainly happened sort of 2019 to 2020 during the pandemic. Lots more people forced into a situation to ask for help with food, and during that time as well, we've seen lots of different people have to use a food bank that wouldn't usually use it, and that's meant the demand has grown massively in Oldham. And for a lot of those people, some people might have had to use the food bank for a number of years, some people might be new users, but it's a really, really needed place in the community.
So in terms of the amount of people that's increasing all the time, wanting that sport, So through the door, how many people do you get per week?
So per week we're looking at probably between 500 to 600 people who are being fed, and that is a number which can fluctuate a lot, depending on the week. But
and of course it depends on your capacity to give as well.
Of course,
and that would have more people coming through the door. So what about staffing? To manage all that people, how many staff do you have?
So we only have one paid staff member, which is myself.
Really?
So that can be a challenge as well. But of course it's it's a really important role for the food bank to make sure that that it all keeps ticking along. But most importantly, obviously, as a food bank, we really rely on our volunteers, and we've got a team of about 100 to 120 volunteers at the moment, which it's an amazing team of people, and they're all so passionate about their local area to help out.
And in terms of helping out, I know we do the same with you as well. You're a great partner. We have a project through Greg's Outlet.
Of course,
on Mondays, Thursdays, on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays, which we serve from 4:30 to 5:30, depending on how much we get as well.
Of course.
And so every bit counts, really.
Of course,
and thank you very much for your support. So in terms of the funding, where do you get your funding from?
So we have to kind of reach out to a number of places these days, as I'm sure you appreciate. It's becomes increasingly expensive to run not only just the building but also a food bank. So we rely on funding from places like the Trussell Trust. We've got some funding grants from. We'll get some from community supermarket grants as well, and also some from Oldham Council and other statutory agencies as well. And we also rely on a number of people who give a certain amount each month to us as a sort of standing order, and that money is it's become a really big part of what we do.
Of course it is, and to manage so many number of volunteers per week, I think your commitment says it all, but you do need the capacity, and I hope some of the funders or the businesses watching this are able to support you further to build your capacity. Well done. So how do people access the food bank?
Our food bank, it works slightly differently to other ones. We are a sort of delivery-based food bank mainly, so we will have like a number of organisations in Oldham who work as what we call referral agencies. So they will be in a number of fields. It could be people like social workers, people working in charities in the community, anyone who's working in the community really that can provide some support to our clients. So basically the people who use a food bank, who we refer to as clients usually, they will get in touch with a referrer. That will usually be someone that they are comfortable with, or they might have worked with before if they're getting support for different aspects of their life. And they'll have a conversation with them about what they need, what kind of food that them and their family will need to have for the week, and any kind of support needs that they've got as well. And once they've had that conversation, we'll have the information sent through to us at the food bank, and we'll turn it into a sort of shopping list which suits that family or that person, to make sure that they have everything that suits their dietary requirements and can get across all the meals in the week. So once we've packed up all the food, we'll usually call the client, and then we'll deliver the food parcel to their home, wherever that is, if it's a flat or a house, or sometimes could be a hotel.
Brilliant.
And
absolutely. It's very well mapped out, isn't it? Excellent.
That's
so
true.
You've got all the processing in place, and you are making a massive difference. We know that. So in terms of your volunteers, you have so many volunteers, and we pride ourselves in terms of work placement and volunteering, and the value it brings to them in terms of their confidence building, training them skills, and hopefully they can find jobs or go for further education. So what do your volunteers do?
So we have a number of roles at the food bank, and a lot of them have kind of developed as we've gone on with people's skills that they bring to their volunteering. So a lot of the volunteers will be based in the warehouse where we base our operations, and they'll be doing things like sorting through donations, making sure everything's good to go out,
Yes.
still in date, that kind of thing. And then we'll have volunteers who are doing more admin-based jobs in the office, processing our referrals, answering calls. We'll have some volunteers who are sort of packing up all the food into parcels, and we'll have people who are delivering parcels and collecting food from different points as well. So there's quite a range there, and then we'll also have some volunteers who are focused more on social media and doing things from home, really, that support the food bank.
With respect, it's the whole business in operation, and if you were to put the value in kind, and this is where I say how the volunteer sector makes a real impact, and people like yourselves and the volunteers who are helping you bring in that value and goodness in supporting people.
Absolutely.
And we should be proud, and we are proud of the volunteer sector. Definitely. And so in terms of the good people, the businesses who support you, particularly with food, and I think it's a good platform to mention them.
Of course.
And because through that, other people will be encouraged. Who are they?
Oh, of course. Well, we have so many people in Oldham that support us, and first off, something that's a really regular support for us is supermarkets. We are lucky to have permanent collection points in there for customers to donate food to us, which makes it a lot easier for them to do that. So they are a big source of that, and that's pretty much every supermarket in Oldham as well. Which is very lucky. We're supported by a very large amount of schools as well, who some of them may even be running their own food banks for the families in there as well, and still find ways to donate food to us, which is absolutely brilliant. And then again, like lots and lots of local businesses that, especially food-based ones, we have support from different kind of manufacturers in Oldham and across Manchester as well. And to be honest, to name all of them would probably take all day.
I appreciate that. But don't forget us as well.
Yeah, of course. and of course, and the Centre of Wellbeing Training and Culture, it's really, having all of those organisations that work with us and donate food to us.
Like I said, every bit counts, doesn't it?
Of course.
So in terms of the demand, I'm sure it must be increasing all the time.
Definitely.
So how has that changed, particularly after the pandemic?
So I mean, it's changed a lot, and I think for the majority of food bank users, it will be people who may be on benefits or out of work, and they're kind of struggling to either find work or they're not well enough to do that. But since the pandemic as well, we saw quite a few people who either lost all of their income if they were doing certain kinds of work, or just found themselves in a situation they hadn't been in before. So that brought a lot of people, and especially with the health side of it as well, people unwell with COVID and other associated conditions, it led them to have to use a food bank. And since then as well, what we do see is, although it's a minority of people, there is a growing number of people who are in even full-time work who the wages just aren't good enough for them to be able to support the family. So that again, that changes the whole scope of people that are involved in the food bank and what support we can offer them, really.
So what support do you need?
Well,
I know besides the food and things like that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a major thing for us. But I think we, going forward, will have to look a lot more to collaborative work with other organisations, to pool our resources and really get the most out of what we can provide to people. Because part of the thing with people who have to ask for food, they usually will have another reason for that. It won't just be the food that they need help with. So honestly,
it's so difficult to turn them away.
Of course, and there's so many people who just need a little bit of help from someone, and that can change their life.
And funding, of course, in terms of the capacity, because one person, for the whole organisation. My credit goes to you, really. Well done. And so in terms of now going forward, you mentioned about the volunteers. Volunteers always need support in terms of having a choice of where they can get the confidence building, learn new skills. I've just thought of it now, we can offer any of your potential volunteers who wants to have you know, a chance to learn new skills, send them our way, and if we can help to improve your systems and your business, we're glad to help you.
That would be brilliant. Yeah. Really
So what do you think of our studio here?
It's absolutely fantastic. I mean, you know, it's set up with everything you could possibly need, you know, for anyone trying to get into this line of work. It's a fantastic resource, isn't it? And
well, it's helping organisations to promote themselves.
Well, of course,
and we're here for that, you know. So we are here for you, basically. That's all I can say. And great discussion with Tom here from Oldham Foodbank. Please get in touch with them and get the support that you need. And don't forget to come to CWTC as well, and plenty of opportunities as well. Hope to see you very soon. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.